Good morning, everyone. This is Lori Mueller coming to you from a snowy day in Lincoln, Nebraska. And my blog name is stampinddreams.com. So I go by stampinddreams.com. But it's a great day to be crafting indoors because we are supposed to receive about 12 inches, possibly 15 inches of that white fluffy stuff. So if you are living in a state that does not experience any snow, maybe no colder than 40 degrees, lucky you, because after I get done with demonstrating my card class today with you, I'm going to be out shoveling this white fluffy stuff. So it's coming down super fast and heavy, and they're big flakes, and I'm certain it's going to be packing itself rather quickly. So, but welcome. So glad to have you here. It's nice and warm inside, but there's a lot to do today. I am demonstrating two different products out of our Sale-A-Bration catalog or brochure. So if you're not familiar with Sale-A-Bration, it is the best time of the Stampin' Up! Year to really gain a lot of stuff for free. So you can do it with a individual $50 purchase or a $100 purchase, because we have a level 1 and a level 2 Sale-A-Bration selections. And the two products that I'm using today are the Darling Donkeys and the Oh So Ombre. I always say that and with that little roll of the R as if I'm speaking Spanish. So yeah, it just kind of comes from knowing a little bit of Spanish. So, but either one of those require a $50 purchase, or if you wanted to place a $100 order, you could get both of them. So you can mix and match your order to receive whichever selections from the Sale-A-Bration brochure you would like to get. So on that, there is also a way of collecting free product if you host a party or a workshop, and we can do it online via Facebook, via Zoom. Gather your friends together because it's a win-win for everyone. Your guest, if they place a $50 order, will also get to choose Sale-A-Bration items. And you as the host, if your party reaches a certain increment, $300, you're eligible to receive another free stamp set. And your purchases also include free Sale-A-Bration, 50 or 100 or whatever. So plus you get Stampin' Rewards, which is more free shopping. So it's a win-win for everyone. And then also the best prize of all is to purchase the starter kit. It's $99. You get to fill it with $125 worth of product, and then you get a 20% discount on all of your purchases after that. And I am so thankful that I purchased my kit a little over 12 years ago, and I wouldn't change a thing. And I would love to visit with you on how my journey came to be with Stampin' Up! It was very soothing and very it came at the right time in my life, because this card that I am going to be demonstrating today is part of the reason why I didn't know I needed to join Stampin' Up!, but I'm glad I did. And then the after news just solidified it, because I was surrounded by a number of friends that helped me through my situation, and it was amazing. So I guess my story is that about this time, it was actually the first part of February, 12 years ago, I went in to have my physical, and I had a suspicion that I had a lump. And I didn't say anything to my doctor because I didn't know if I was dreaming it or if I was imagining it, being paranoid, and I wanted that confirmation that yes, there's definitely something there. And sure enough, it was confirmed that I had a lump, and I went in for all sorts of tests, and it came back positive that I had breast cancer. And that's when my Stampin' Up! Really took off. I joined the previous October, not knowing any of this was going to happen, but Stampin' Up!, my paper crafting, my ideas, my dreams, that's what diverted my attention away from what was going on with me, and to be able to express my creativity. And so I look at it that Stampin' Up!, the products, the already coordinating colors, I didn't even have to go out and shop and spend time, you know, online or drive into different big box stores to see what colors matched my ink, my papers, my embellishments. All of that's in one catalog. Stampin' Up! Did all the work for me. So I could quickly place my order and have it shipped to me and start playing right away. I didn't have to waste all my time, all my gas, all my energies. It was all done for me. It was easy, and that's what allowed me to just dive into my creativity and share it with others. And so when I hear, you know, somebody is struggling in life or struggling with medical situations or today's world events that are you know, happening, the situation that we're encountering, that's when I want to bring them in. It's like, come craft with me, just melt away, forget about all that stuff, and you know, let's just be creative and stamp and have a great time, visit, and you know, if you need to release emotions, you know, I'm there for you. I have a shoulder. I've been there before. I've had shoulders to cry on, and yeah, that's where Stampin' Up! Really fit into my life, and I'm so thankful for it. So on that note, the Darling Donkeys is one of the stamp sets that really drew me in immediately, because there's one donkey in there that just says it all when it comes to cancer. And I couldn't wait to get my vision down onto paper and get it all put together. So it's also a card that you can attribute to any sort of cancer. You know, there's so many cancers, not just breast cancer, but the colors are associated with each one. You know, there's pancreas, there's lung, there's heart, there's thyroid, there's so many, I can't even list them all. There's, you know, over 50, I think, or maybe even 100, I don't know. But this is going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So on that note, good morning, everybody. So glad to have you here with me. And I am very thankful for all the friendships that I've made over the miles, over the years, over every occasion. And I am so blessed, and I am thankful. So I think we're going to flip it over and we're going to get started. All right. All right. So we have a couple of different announcements. First, Paper Pumpkin. If you have not heard of it, Paper Pumpkin, excuse me, it is a kit in the mail. It comes with all your supplies, you know, whether it's cards, we do have treat packages on occasion, but everything's already pre-cut. You can punch out. There's decorative envelopes that go with it. And this one is our February one. And it is a much needed one at this time because it's based on offering uplifting messages to support your loved ones through life's trying times. And what better time than now? This one will come with the supplies to create 9 cards, and it comes with coordinating envelopes. and it features pastel shades, rich jewel tones, and all that good stuff. So if you want to subscribe or you want to contact me, you can message me on Facebook, email me, you can text me, but otherwise if you wish to subscribe and receive this one, you have to do it no later than February 10th, okay? So that's February 10th is the key, last day to subscribe. Now, for all my subscribers, I am part of a new crew that I will be forwarding or giving you access to 6 different videos using the supplies in this kit and creating alternatives. And so we are called the PPX crew, and it's so much fun. I really enjoyed sending this out to all my Paper Pumpkin subscribers. And you do have to be a subscriber to receive these extra videos. And so if you are purchasing the prepaids for 3 months, you'll get the videos for those 3 months. If you're a monthly, you just have to make certain that your subscription does not fall into, that you don't stall it or that you cancel it, because you want to make certain that you are a current Paper Pumpkin subscriber to receive those videos. And there's some awesome ones. All right, next up, I am offering a number of online classes. I've got this one scheduled for February 6th. You Are Amazing Project Kit, and the class fee is that you purchase the kit and the stamp set, and we will join together in a Zoom session. So as soon as you use this host code to purchase the products needed for this kit, then you will receive the Zoom invitation. So come join us. We've got a good group already started, so I'd love to have you join us and have some fun stamping. And then I've got another event later in February where it is also an online card class. And then we're going to play we'll play bingo first, and then we're going to stamp together. And the deadline to register is February 10th, because I need time to order all the supplies, all of the bingo prizes, the door prizes, because the bingo prizes are going to be coming out of the current January through June mini catalog. So depending on how many we have register will depend on the size of the prizes. So I'm super excited. You know, there's some bundles, there's groupings of papers and accessories and things like that. But February 10th is the deadline, because I need to order, cut, and get the card supplies and your bingo cards, you get 2 of them, mailed off to you prior to the event on the 20th. So register for that. All that information is on my business Facebook page. And if you don't have the current mini catalog and Sale-A-Bration brochure and you're not connected with a demonstrator, I'd love to get these in your hands. Today, as I mentioned, we are going to create using the Darling Donkeys, and you can see all sorts of ideas right there. But oh my gosh, this little guy is super cute, and this one is what really gathered my attention for the card that we're going to create today. And then later in this, the next page are the Oh So Ombre designer series paper packs. So you get 48 sheets in there, 12 each of one double-sided design. So super fun, love, love, love. All right, so set that aside. So this is our focus today, the Darling Donkeys, and these are the papers that come in that paper pack. This is the one side. So you've got Rococo Rose, Blackberry Bliss, and then on the reverse side you have Granny Apple Green and Bermuda Bay. So those are the 4 colors, but you see just 2 different patterns, 1 and 2. All right, now this Rococo Rose is kind of a hued pink, which kind of falls into breast cancer for me, the vision. Now the Blackberry Bliss is kind of a darker hued purple, so I also support Alzheimer's Foundation. So this coming summer, in June, I'll be organizing my Alzheimer's fundraiser, and this would be a great card to, or great patterns to use for that as well. All right, so we are ready to start. This is my fun little card, and again I used the two patterns right here, the circles and the ombre. Well, they're both in ombre, but this is more of a solid color. But you could definitely bring in this, and the motto for Alzheimer's is End Alz. So you have ENDALZ. So you could create something like that if you are also needing to send something to a friend, family member who is dealing with Alzheimer's. So, but yeah, isn't this super cute? So I want to share that I'm using a Sahara sand card base. It's matted with soft suede, and then I took the full-size designer series paper and then I cut it diagonally. So the actual designer series paper is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, and then I just cut it diagonally. So that way I was able to create this card and then use the opposites for this new card that we're going to create today. The little rectangles, scalloped rectangles, come from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and I used the smallest one in that set. I love this. If you don't have this one's, there's so many staple dies that I love to use. You know, the layering circles, and then the playful alphabet is very popular in my creations. You know, I'm using them all the time. This little die cut comes from the Tasteful Labels right here. So that one is another popular one in my creations. It's kind of a go-to for me. And then we have the Darling Donkey that has been colored with Stampin' Blends and popped up on the vellum circle, layering circle. And that one comes from this particular lineup, and it measures, well, if I go from outside to outside, it's 2 1/8. All right, so it makes it about a 2-inch circle, or maybe a little bit less, about it looks like 1 7/8. So, but it comes from this quadrant of the die set, the second one in. All right, and then let's see, we're using one ink pad, the Rococo Rose, because I'm pulling and coordinating from the designer paper pack right there. And then I've got some tips on creating the pop-up of the letters. We're using the foam adhesive sheets to accent the letters of our major portion of our sentiment there. So, all right, so let's get started. We are needing to pull in our pieces here, and a lot of this I've die cut and cut already, so help progress this along quickly. But I have my Sahara sand, which measures 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then it's scored at 4 1/4. All right, the soft suede piece is 5 1/4 by 4, and then if you can imagine the one piece, because this piece comes from there, and then vice versa, that piece is the other half of that one. All right, so I'm able to get 2 cards using one sheet of 6x6 designer series paper. And if I pull this in, I can show you how I cut it. I think it was this way and this way. So that was my piece, and then I just cut it diagonally like that. So you've got some nice scrap pieces that you can use on future creations. They're not cut, you know, really wonky or anything. They're nice, clean, geometric shapes. And then I just made certain that I lined up my corners in the groove of my trimmer and helped me cut that evenly. So that way I can mat them 1/8 of an inch smaller than what my soft suede layer is. Then I have my vellum, my sentiment layer, and then 6 of these die cuts. Now you could steal from this layer if you wanted, because no one's going to see it, and you're basically just kind of transferring the weight from this layer to, you know, using it for that. And then we're going to need scraps of white and some Sahara sand and those pieces. So why don't we go ahead and adhere. We'll go ahead and fold and burnish our card base. That's all set. Then I'm going to add my designer series paper to my soft suede, and I'm wanting to make certain that I have a nice even border all the way around. So I'll go ahead and pull that one out, and I'm using liquid glue because I like to be able to shift my project, or you know, or my layer of paper across my my matted layer or wherever I'm positioning, because most oftentimes I don't get it laid down just exactly right, and I like to be able to maneuver and shift it. Ooh, I might have done it. Ah, that would have been a first. I usually don't get it in the position I want it right away because it seems to kind of, I don't know, it's not really static cling, but it just really sucks it in. I don't know. All right, now I'm gonna layer this one, and I'm not so worried about if my, now see this one I'm gonna have to shift. There we go. And then get that shifted over like that. And then I'm gonna cover up the seam right here with my braided trim, because I don't want to see my seam right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off a piece like that and position it across here. So I'm gonna do a thin stream of my liquid glue. Don't need a whole lot, because Stampin' Seal is too wide for this braided trim. Therefore, it won't work to avoid having your card stuck to the inside of the envelope, because your stream of adhesive is wider than. All right, so now I can kind of shift this to the point, and like that. Yeah, I just don't like the open seams like that. I like to have them covered up, hidden, you know, with a decorative edging or something of that nature. Now I can go ahead and add. Now I could have added this to the card front prior to adding the ribbon, but, or the braided trim, if you want to call it correctly. All right, and then I give it a nice even border all the way around. There we go. All right, so that is the vast majority of our cards so far. And now we can concentrate on adding our letters. So I'm using a piece of adhesive foam, and it has that, it's kind of like a dimensional. It has the paper on both sides. But I'm going to peel one side and adhere a strip of Sahara sand to it, like that. And this is what we are going to run through our cut and emboss machine. Turn that off of there, I don't need all that. Because you can do this in one of two ways. You can go ahead and line up your letters on here. Pull those aside here. I can bring these in. And you can run this through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And the foam will shrink, so it's not going to add any added pressure or anything. It's not going to give you any grief going through. So you can run it through that way, or you can run your cardstock through first and then you can cut a piece of foam. Because if you didn't want these little polka dots on here, because the more pressure it is, the more they show up. And so you can kind of see that there aren't any polka dots here. But the C seems to bring them in for some reason. But anyway, you can do one of either way, and then you peel this off, and then you would attach your cardstock in that fashion. But we're going to do it the fast and easy way. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine, like that. And I'm using the plates 1, 2, and 3, just so you can see the numbers. You need the exact same sandwich that you would for a regular die cut. And I'm going to go ahead and position these on here. And I've already got the 1C cut out because I wanted to show you, how the difference between the two. And that should work right there. And you want to make certain that you rest your top plate on. Don't shift it around, otherwise your letters will move. And then run it through. I'm going to come back through this direction. There we go. And then it cuts right through. Super easy. All right, so we'll move this aside. And next, we are going to add our pieces across the top. Like that. Kind of give me an eyeball of how I'm going to position them. And I just went really wonky with it because we're talking about a donkey here, kind of kicking the words, cancer is going to the curb, kind of scrambling up the words a little bit as the kind of the way I was looking at it. All right, so I'm going to add some adhesive here and do that. And if I don't press too hard on this, I can actually maneuver, to center across the piece so that I'm not shifted all to one side more than the other. So I'm hoping everyone is staying warm today. Now, if you're in Florida or Arizona, I'm certain you are. I'm jealous. Okay, so, but actually, with snow like this, I'm not too disappointed. It's actually kind of pretty. And I grew up in the country, where we would have, back in the day, geez, we'd have, around 13-foot snowbanks that were out in the pasture, and we'd have to, track down any horses or cattle I'll make certain that they were all okay. So, all right, so now, next up is to add our, let's see if I got this one a little bit. I want to be able to bring that C down. There we go. And then these just pop out really easy. I want to be careful not to have the back peel off just yet. Oop. There we go. And it's usually that slick paper that gets cut. The foam and everything is all cut through. It's just that back layer of our adhesive sheet that kind of gets stuck. All right, and then you have these fun things like that. All right, so now I pull this out and kind of position these in their spot. And then our in. Let's see, A. Poke this through. Oh. And then our last one is the E. All right, so I'm going to set those aside. And now all we have to do is peel off the back and position them in place. And like I said, it just peels off really easy, and they are very, very tacky. So once you set it in place, you want to almost be certain that that's where you want it because they won't, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pull up. Pull that off. But I love these letters. I mean, they're nice and small that you can get a nice little sentiment that is quite it's pronounced. I mean, it's very very bold in a subtle way. All right, so we've got that. Super fun. So next up is just to get our darling donkey all set up. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up our sentiment using Rococo Rose. And we're doing the hee-haw, meaning in my mind when I saw hee-haw, I was envisioning that I would give this to someone who has just been cleared and cancer-free. That was my thought on this. All right, come off of there. There we go. And this would be a great way to celebrate the great news that they beat it and are going to have a future road cancer-free. All right, next up is to stamp our little donkey. Now this one can be done in a couple different ways. When you're using Stampin' Blends, you really want to use Memento ink. Memento. This is the one you want to use when you're using Stampin' Blends. But you can use a classic ink when coloring with Stampin' Blends. You just have to be careful how much you touch the outside edging of your image. The reason I went with early espresso is because I was using neutral tones in the brown, and when I inked him up in the Memento black, he stood out more prominent than I really wanted. I wanted it to all kind of blend together. So I'm using early espresso, and then I'll share with you how you color him without having the bleeding of your classic ink. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp him here. All right, and then we'll go ahead and get to coloring, and I'm gonna go ahead and we'll color him first. So I'm using the colors of soft suede, light. I have the dark and light crumb cake, and then I have the light and dark smoky slate. Those are the colors that I'm going to be using to color him. And we're going to start off with the dark crumb cake. I'm going to use the blunt end here and come around. And I'm not being really neat about this. I'm just going to kind of highlight a few things. And around the ear, let's see, and then maybe along this direction right there. And then I'm going to come in with my light crumb cake, and I'm going to just kind of pull those color from the dark to the center. And that's where the blending comes in. So I want to make certain that I'm not going to be touching the edge of my early espresso. Because of the classic ink, it is blendable. You can actually start pulling it in with your blends. All right. Oh, all of a sudden I got the shakes. My coffee must be kicking in. And I'm going to kind of leave a little white space around the eye as a shadowing or highlight effect. And you want to make certain you color in the tail. And I'm going to do the same thing around the belly, kind of leave a little highlighted area as a shiny part of the belly that is shown off by the sun or whatever is in the area. All right. And okay, let's do a little bit less. Whoop. Yeah, and you know, coloring with blends is not a necessity to be perfect, because that's the whole point of the blends. Now with the smoky slate, I did decide to do the light first. And again, I'm gonna come in around and not cover the entire nostril area. And do a little bit of hooves. And donkeys, you know, they can be colored any color. You know, there's cream colored ones, there's gray ones, there's brown ones. So you can make your donkey whatever color, but of course I'm coordinating mine to the colors that I'm using in my card. And I'm just going to highlight the hooves right there, and then a little bit around the mouth and nose right there. And then I can always come in just a little bit and kind of soften that. Now the hooves I'm going to leave alone, but you can kind of see where that kind of blends. It gives it a little ombre color. Now with my light soft suede, I did come in and highlight some of these, like the mane, a little bit of the ear, and I added a little bit of color along the belly and the back and then the tail, because I wanted to give a little accent color. Let's see, where else did I go? I think I want to, and then you can come back in with your crumb cake and blend that in. I'm going to come back in with the light crumb cake and blend that in. Just kind of pushing that ink to the inside of the image. And you can use any of the brushes. I prefer the brush when I'm doing this. You can use the bullet part if you wanted. All right, I think he's looking pretty good. Kind of cute. Add a little bit of color there. All right. Add a little bit more color to his legs. They're looking a little peaked. All right, what do you think? Kind of cute, huh? All right, next up is to cut this little devil out. Now I did decide, I'm gonna turn this off. I did decide to give this image a little bit of a halo around, meaning I'm giving a cloud area of the white around the image versus cutting directly up to the inked part of the image, because I didn't want him to be too stark of a focal point, or maybe even, you know, buried in that vellum circle. This kind of gives them a little bit more prominence resting on that vellum circle. And now the key to cutting out, I'm told, and I've learned, but I'm not so certain that I'm good at it, is that you're supposed to move the paper versus moving your scissors. So I kind of do a mix of both. But yeah, I'm not very good at making certain I'm only moving the paper and not my scissors at the same time. But I don't know, maybe I am, and I'm just not realizing it. And you can add a little bit of squirreliness, you know, when it comes to the different corners and little bits of hair that are like, you know, I did right here. You can cut around those, give them little notches, or you can give it a little bit cleaner, more straight edge. To me, it adds a little bit of character when I'm fussy cutting. And I know there are some people who are not fans of fussy cutting, but sometimes it is just needed. I mean, I could have stamped this little guy on a circle, you know, die cut him out in a circle, but he would have really stolen the show of my card creation, which is really, I didn't want him to be the total show. I wanted my playful alphabet to kind of, and the papers to really be the focal point. So, all right, we're getting close. Oops, got hung up there. So I'm curious. Let me know if you're a fussy cutter or not. If you hate it, if you like it, you're okay with it, you'll do it on occasion. Yeah, I'm always curious to know, you know, all my friends and their likes and dislikes. And I think, here we go. He's so cute. I just love him. He's adorable. All right, so next up is to put him together. So we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. To pop him up. Again, you pack out here. All right. So we're going to give him a little dimension on our creation. And I am going to, let's see if I can get a second one in there. There we go. Now I'm going to, because I want his legs to really pop up, so I'm going to cut one of these in a strip, because I don't want the legs to sag and get lost. Oops, there we go. So you can cut these down, or you can use the mini, you know, there's a great edging on the mini dimensionals. All right, come on. Go, and then this one will fit right there, and use that one for the ears. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so we're going to center him on this vellum piece, and then to be able to glue it down to the card base is going to be easy, because we'll have our donkey to help hide the adhesive, because usually adhesive shows heavily on vellum. So we're going to use the donkey to hide our adhesive like this. Use that, because anything that is behind my vellum, it's not going to be seen. All right, now we're going to position him in a spot that is giving us the image that he's scrambling up those words, like that. Ooh, and I need to, all right, I need to cut this down like that. And we'll give it a little bit of adhesive right here and tuck it under the belly area like that. And then I like to give it a little bit of a flare for dimension right there. And I think that is it. There we go. So adorable. Isn't he cute? So this is going to a friend of mine who has beat cancer, actually for the second time. And I'm so excited for her that, yeah, so this is going to be like a congratulations, you know, so excited, you know, a great uplifting accomplishment type of card. So that is going out to her. So I hope that you'll find this darling donkeys, you know, place a $50 order and you can get this one for free. If you place a $100 order, you can get the paper pack and the donkeys for free. So that's all it takes is, here's your paper pack full of 48 sheets, but use this host code and place your order. And then I'm also going to send you a Darling Donkeys class. It'll consist of the supplies for 4 cards, 2 each of 2 designs, and everything will be pre-cut, but you will need the stamp images for the Darling Donkeys to complete your projects, because I can't send stamped images, and but I can send the papers pre-cut and everything and all the die cuts for you to assemble and enjoy creating in your craft space. So super fun. So let me go ahead and flip us back around.